Hello, I'm Derek Pryor with Resulting, formerly a Gartner analyst specialising in SAP. Today I'm in the Resulting STEM studio with Rob to discuss a very interesting subject, big data in the cloud. Rob, big data, big deal. We've been hearing about big data forever. Come on, what's new?
I think big data should just be downgraded to just data. I mean, it's been solved. The problem of large data has been solved. It's an engineering problem. Thankfully, the big players like Yahoo introduced MapReduce and that framework and Hadoop, which was bringing cheap commodity software and being able to do large parallel processing. It's been done, and now the cloud providers have made managed services around that and made it a lot easier to do. And yes, it's probably still a little trickiness to manage big data, but it's not a problem anymore because it can be handled. You don't need to have super experts. We have the cloud, and having all that data on the cloud is just an order of magnitude easier than having a whole team managing clusters of distributed servers.
Technically, Rob, that sounds like really something different. To be fair, yeah, I like your explanation. It sounds like then cloud is kind of facilitating things, taking much of the technical heavy lifting away from us,
yeah,
freeing me up to really play around with the data.
Yeah, and not worry about infrastructure. And that's the big, because infrastructure is hard. I remember seeing a large data provider, and they were like, okay, well, you need to take the license, and you say take 5 servers at minimum, it's going to cost you 80,000. It was like 80,000 just to do something. It's why does it matter? You should just be able to say small data, medium data, large data, and be able to do anything. And that's what the cloud providers are doing now. It's Google, but specifically, are the kings of distributed computing, and they've made it open to the rest of the world. And it's very exciting because you can do anything with it now. And yes, you still have your transactional databases, which you record your what happens, but you can start thinking about anything. If I want to record events, and events is a classic, when somebody clicks on my on a banner on ad tech, click on a banner, click on anything, you can start recording everything, and you just put it away in storage, and then later you go and run a query across it, and it doesn't really matter where it's stored because it's managed.
But Rob, does it really matter whose cloud? I mean, should I worry about whether it's Google's cloud or Microsoft's cloud or anybody else's cloud? Can I move it around, or am I really? Am I locked in?
No, and that's a great thing actually, is that you can be very specific where that data resides geographically. So if you have rules on where data resides, and that's why banking has now come in and actually used the cloud recently. Starling Bank were one of the first to really bring that in, and they help everybody move forward. And because there's certain regulations behind where that data can live, so in the EU or in England. So it's okay, that data is on those servers. There's still cloud, there's still servers, right? And yes, you could migrate, take that out, extract it, move it into another provider, and spin up servers anywhere you want, because the layer of abstraction now using the power of HTTP is just incredible, because everything is programmable. You're not asking a team of cluster like DevOps, infrastructure, sysadmins to spin up servers. You can literally command any cloud provider to spin up servers and manage your data.
And I can move my data between them if I have to?
If you have to, yeah.
If I have to, wow.
Probably going to be a cost.
Oh, that's important stuff. And if I'm a big and global and I've got operations in Germany seems to be pretty notoriously sensitive about where data goes and lives. Does it matter? Are those sorts of international issues being overcome, would you say?
I think because of regionalisation, Amazon Web Services are opening many different data centres, so you can just pick where you want to be. And so, and that's actually a good way of managing replication. So if you're a global company and you want, customer or client needs that same service, your data will reside where it needs to be. And if you, for example, travel from UK to Australia and you want the same experience, that data is replicated so that when you get the same experience and it's there and it's at speed, it's not transporting, when you ask it to come across, it's there, it's been replicated. And it's incredible. Really. So.
Well, things are much further ahead. Things have been moving quickly, much faster than I'd expected. So I guess could you give us a couple of examples of maybe some interesting projects where maybe some surprising or startling conclusions have come out of big data analyses?
I mean, yeah, a lot of people say, oh, we have the big data and we'll throw something at it, it will give insights back, but that's an anomaly, I think. Generally, you know what's going on. Yes, you can look deeply into it and look at trends, but the relationship between really large data sets and AI is actually where the interest is, because AI works very well on large data sets in that it can consume and it can understand very specific relationships between different data points, which you would otherwise never see. But I would say it's not necessarily going to transform your business, but you are able to do that, whereas before you wouldn't be able to do that. That would just not be possible, because you couldn't even read it on a computer. Right? You'd have to do distributed computing to spin this thing up, take a day to compute it, and then, oh, it's wrong, I have to do that again. Whereas now you can do this in massive parallel ways along very large data sets, produce many different models and start looking at the results in a different way. So and natural languages where Google has really, and obviously Amazon Web Services with Alexa, just that ability to understand speech and human language. That's really where the nuance is, because there's great nuance in natural language.
So it sounds like big data's become practical from what you're telling us, and it's not. We've seen the cloud has been a major help to us, but interesting that you say that AI also is coming along as almost a way of helping to unlock the data.
Yep, unlocks it. And the classic thing, AI unlock insights within your data, and there is a certain amount of truth in that. But again, you need to be organised with what you think's in there, and you don't go at a large data set, start off and go, okay, AI, there you go, give me insights. You take a small amount of data and then you do a little bit. You have a hypothesis, because the signal would be there. You just wouldn't be able to definitely have high confidence that it was, and then you just run out of scale. So it's an amazing method that you can sample, use statistical methods, and then just scale up. And say, okay, run everything, let's see what's happening. And then take those insights and action on them. And that's the exciting part, is that you're essentially reducing large data down into small data, but really interesting data, because that large data is just messy. So
this sounds much more practical than I was expecting. So if I want to get going, Rob, I want to do some of this. If I go back to my organisation, I'm the CIO, and I know I've got a team that specialises in business intelligence. They've always been beavering away over there. Not sure what I've really got out of them, but there's another question, another story. And I've got this big data warehouse project, army of people looking. Would those be typically the sorts of people I'd want to involve, or would I need more? Do I need more people from the business maybe to get involved?
Both, yeah. I think so. There's skill sets within BI teams. They're used to it.
Yeah.
But the business and BI team, really, that's where the collaboration. Humans are very good at working together in different roles. And if you silo a team, just a bunch of BI guys or data scientists just doing the same thing, they're not going to do it. They need help. They need domain experience. They need to know how the business works. They need to know exactly what is going on to help that. And classic ETL is that you're extracting information and putting it in an analytical database. That takes time. One of the really interesting things is a product called AWS Athena, which is built on top of PrestoDB, which came from Facebook, and it uses serverless. So I don't know if you know what serverless is. There are servers, but they're spun up when you ask them to, and you only get billed for that cost. And whereas previously you'd have to rent a server or servers for that period, that total time, and it costs a lot of money. Whereas this is, okay, read a terabyte of data, and that's $5.
Wow,
fascinating. And that's amazing, because because you don't need to commit to too much there. You just use it, pay as you go. It's like a mobile phone. Like, use it when you want and get billed for that.
Amazing, amazing. We've learnt a lot here, Rob. So we've covered a lot of ground again. So could you just sum up all of your key takeaways here for people to really get going?
I think big data is not a problem anymore. It's just like you can forget about the engineering problem, and you can just use the services out there, the various different cloud providers, and you can get going and get moving, as opposed to be bogged down by infrastructure.
Sounds great. Thank you very much indeed, Rob. And if you'd like to find out more, please do check out our website, where you'll find our latest